Welcome, Mooresville. I'm your host, Alex Johnson.
And I'm your co-host, Will Comer, and you're watching
More News. With the boys' basketball season coming to an end, here is a season recap by Jesse Hartwell.
Let's take a rewind on time and relive the season that the boys basketball team had. They started off with an amazing 8-1 start with their only loss against Terre Haute North Vigo in the very first game. The scores of those games being 53-58 against Terre Haute North Vigo, 72-71 against Avon, 38-37 against Pere Meridian, 64-55 against Terre Haute South Vigo, 58-52 against Bloomington North, 50-45 against Decatur Central, 50-33 against Franklin Community, 86-56 against Crystal House Watanabe. Only a few blowouts, but a definite step up from the previous season as the boys were able to close out games when it mattered most. The trouble with the young team started with a 3-game stretch, all ending in a loss. A 68-55 loss at Columbus North, a 70-54 loss against New Palestine, and a 51-31 loss against Columbus East. A 3-game losing streak that would push them from an 8-1 season to an 8-4 season. After those 3 losses, the boys were able to finish the season off with a 6-3 run. Those games ending with the scores 60-57 with a bounce-back win over Plainfield, 80-70 win over McCutcheon, a loss to Whiteland 58-63, a win over Indian Creek 89-70, a loss to Fort Wayne 68-65, a conference win over Martinsville 55-46, a close win over Center Grove 57-55, a loss to Greenwood 38-33, and to end off the regular season, a massive blowout against Victory College Prep with a final score 82-34. A great regular season that ended with a 14-7 overall record, putting them second in Mid-State Conference, 55th in the 4A division, and 106th in state. A great season that landed them into the playoffs as a possible sectional title contender. Unfortunately, what seemed to be a callback to the first game of the season, they had to play Terre Haute North Vigo again, and ended up losing with a score of 52-64. Even though it was an unfortunate end to the season, we can't forget about the stellar performances that were put on this season by these star players. Who better than Zach Woodson to start off with a 4-year varsity guard who averaged 13 points per game, 2 rebounds, and 2 assists, while being a core leader to this team. Next up is junior guard Nick Patterson, who averaged 10.8 points per game, 6.5 rebounds, 3.8 assists, and 1.3 steals on a breakout season. Next up is senior guard Ashton Holtzclaw, who averaged 7 points per game and 2.7 rebounds. Finally, we have the senior big man Nick Wiley, who averaged 6 points per game and 3.3 rebounds. That is all for this year's basketball recap. Now back to the studio.
With a great season by the boys basketball team, they will continue to prepare for their future seasons. Looking for something to do this season? Here's a package about why you should support Unified Track and Field.
Happy spring, Pioneers! Are you trying to think of things to do to get out and enjoy this nice spring weather? I have a great idea. How about coming out and supporting our Mooresville Unified Track team? The track team has been working hard, practicing 3 times a week to get ready for the upcoming season. The Unified Track team is coached by Tina Taylor, Jackie Engel, and Brandon Lewin. I was able to ask Miss Taylor what she is looking forward to most this season and what made her want to coach the Unified Track team. She said, I look forward to watching friendships develop among our athletes and partners. I'm also looking forward to Mid-State Conference Championship in May. It is one of my favorite meets of the year. We get to compete against our favorite schools and hopefully come home with a conference championship. Our last conference championship was in 2018. I wanted to coach Unified Track because I love watching our special athletes compete, but also wanted to be part of their success on the field. Also to make sure they had a good time and are able to compete to the best of their abilities. The schedule for the season is located on the athletic page of our school's website. Keep watching for the dates of the meets. Let's all get out and support this wonderful team. I am Billy Kelso with more news.
Come out and support the Unified Track team to see how their hard work pays off. Have you ever wondered what the academic team is and what they do? Here is a package with interviews from the captains of the academic team.
The academic team is made up of 6 separate groups. The groups are math, science, social studies, English, fine arts, and an interdisciplinary team made up of the captains of the other 5 groups. Over the course of 3 months, Mooresville's academic team competes in 3 competitions throughout the state. The topic that they cover changes every year. This year's topic is Canada. During the season, they will have practices to prepare for questions given by the state. Now, an interview with the captains.
How has the academic team impacted you?
It's given me a chance to expand my knowledge in science and math and everything past just what I see in school every day and the classes I've taken and everything like that, and it gives me a chance to kind of show leadership a little bit.
There's a lot of fun relationships, and I do there's a lot of camaraderie. We actually get along and go out of our way to congratulate other people.
It has definitely helped educate me on world affairs and how they affect people of all cultures, especially since we don't have a whole lot of world culture classes here.
It gives a lot of info towards books that you don't get to read in classes. We did read The Great Gatsby, which I know 12th graders read, but it's not in the curriculum that I'm going for. So I still get to read the same books that other kids do. Right now we're reading Life of Pi, so it's really interesting to see all the different perspectives between novels and poetry, and it makes me want to read more outside.
It's impacted my after school life. I've been doing it for a couple of years now.
How do you prepare mentally before a competition?
So we meet once or twice a week every week, and going over notes in our document that we have really helps me get prepared.
Just kind of hang out and eat pizza and go over some last minute things.
Really just review. I don't know if I really get nervous for a competition.
We do studying and we have practices. We just kind of try to group everything together. We use spreadsheets and Google Docs and things like that to just gather information.
What have you enjoyed most about your time with the academic team?
Getting to read all the poetry and all the short stories that are so funny. There's a lot of funny short stories that people don't think about and you don't know how to find them.
Probably the other people on the team.
I think getting to go to other schools and getting to meet other people that have similar interests and everything like that is one of the interesting parts that I don't think a lot of people think about.
Learning about things that I do not know. So our topic this year is Canada, and I did not know a lot about Canada before going into this, so I think it's really nice how I've actually learned a lot.
If you are interested in watching short films and podcasts from the creators at Pioneer TV, check out our YouTube channel. Recently released short films include Groundhog vs. Gopher by Kathleen Thomas and Straw Nana by Isaac Moeller. We also have the Prom Edition podcast by Jesse Hartwell.
Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow our Instagram and Facebook to support Pioneer TV, and keep up with our short films and podcasts.
That's all for more news this week. I was your co-host, Will Comer.
And I was your host, Alex Johnson. Tune in May 4th for the next More News.
You're watching a student-produced newscast as part of the radio TV pathway at Mooresville High School.
Storytelling has conflicts or problems, and they have their beginnings, they have their turning points, and their conclusions, resolutions. And so when it comes to more news, we are looking for the stories that are out there. They've already been, they either already happened or they're in the middle of that conflict, and we get to help tell that story as it's unfolding. But for the most part, we know that how it has resolved. It's our job to find those stories and to share them with our viewers, because they don't know what's going on in high school. Community members or even students within the school may be unaware of some of these stories that are happening. And so it's exciting for us to be able to discover them, understand them, and then share them with our viewers so that they understand the stories too, and they're better off with it.
More news, we use ProPresenter, which uses all our graphics and videos. We can fire it. We also use an AIDA Mini Extreme during that. And then we have some Ethernet systems for HDMI cameras that we pull into our switcher, and then we go live on production track.
Well, first thing that we consider is what around the school is kind of going on, and what are the big events that are going on that we think that the whole community should know about, or the people listening to more news. And so based on that, we kind of assign different people to different projects, and sometimes they'll think of projects that they think should be told, and then we'll go over that. Or it's like big sporting events that'll be either coming up or have happened that, you know, really had a big impact on the season, or like new coach hires and stuff. And so we kind of look at that, and then they make the content, and we'll go through about a 4-week cycle of them making the content. We'll have the producer look at it, he looks at it, he suggests edits. We do peer reviews where peers suggest edits and what to make it better, and then it goes through the different directors, and then the executive director, and then it officially goes on to more news, where we put it in for either our news cast or our sports cast based on the content of the video.
To join the Radio TV Pathway courses, contact the guidance office at 317-831-9203 or visit mooresvilleschools.org.